All right, let's jump into another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at what drives college students to become entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And we're looking at a 2019 research paper for this
Sounds good.
from Frontiers in Psychology. It's titled Research on the Effects of Entrepreneurial Education and Entrepreneurial Self-Efficacy on College Students' Entrepreneurial Intention.
Interesting title.
Yeah, it's a mouthful, but basically what we want to know is like what makes someone want to start a business,
Yeah.
right? Is it something they learn in school, or is there like an inner drive? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. It's a question that's fascinated researchers for decades, and this paper digs into some pretty interesting findings.
Yeah. One of the things that really jumped out at me was, you know how they said entrepreneurial education does make students more likely to want to start a business?
Right.
But it doesn't seem to directly affect their overall attitude towards entrepreneurship.
That's interesting. You'd think learning about it would make you more gung-ho, right?
Yeah, like you'd think so. It's like just because you know how to bake a cake doesn't mean you want to open a bakery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It takes more than just knowledge. There's got to be a spark
There's got to be that passion.
that drives.
And speaking of passion, this study was actually done in China,
Oh, wow.
where, get this, the number of college graduates starting businesses like skyrocketed.
Really?
Yeah. Between 2012 and 2017, it went from like 2% to almost 3%.
Wow. That's a pretty significant jump. So this isn't just theoretical. We're talking about a real phenomenon.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where entrepreneurial intention comes into play.
Ah, yes. Entrepreneurial intention.
It's like the foundation for action.
It really is.
Yeah.
So what exactly do we mean by entrepreneurial intention?
Well, I mean, it sounds kind of self-explanatory, right? Like you intend to be an entrepreneur.
It's more than just a fleeting thought, though, right?
Right.
It's a measurable psychological factor. It's the commitment and planning that come before you actually, launch a business. Someone with high entrepreneurial intention isn't just saying, oh, I want to open a cafe one day. They're like scouting locations,
Yeah.
drafting a business plan, maybe even talking to investors.
And those concrete steps, yeah.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond the dream and into action.
Which makes me think about, you hear those stories of entrepreneurs who started with nothing.
Right.
Like Sarah Blakely
Oh, yeah.
with Spanx.
Yeah.
She started with like $5,000 and a whole lot of hustle.
What a great idea.
Yeah, and that intention, that drive from the get-go.
Exactly. And what this research points to is that intention isn't just about what you know. It's also about something called entrepreneurial self-efficacy.
Okay, entrepreneurial self-efficacy. Now we're getting into the technical jargon here.
It sounds a bit intimidating, doesn't it?
Yeah. Break it down for us. What does that even mean?
Basically, it's the belief in your own ability to do all the things it takes to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
It's the confidence that you can handle the ups and downs, make the tough decisions, and ultimately succeed.
So it's not just about like having the skills, but believing you can use them.
Right. It's about having the confidence to actually apply what,
Right.
to build something real. The researchers use this framework. They call it planned behavior theory,
Okay.
which basically says that, our intentions are shaped by, like, our attitudes, what people around us think,
Yeah.
and how much control we think we have over a situation. And that's where self-efficacy really comes in.
So like you could have all the textbook knowledge about starting a business,
Yeah.
but if you don't actually believe you can do it,
Yeah. If you don't have that inner confidence,
then it's not going to happen.
it's like having all the ingredients for a gourmet meal, but not believing you can cook.
Oh, yeah. You're just going to order takeout.
Exactly. And this applies to so many areas of life, not just business. Think about public speaking, asking someone out on a date,
Oh, yeah.
even trying a new recipe. It's that belief in yourself that can make all the difference.
So this entrepreneurial self-efficacy, it's like the secret ingredient that makes it all happen.
I like that, the secret ingredient.
It's like the difference between thinking, oh, maybe one day I'll, and actually taking that first step.
It's what separates the dreamers from the doers.
Yeah. And this study actually found that entrepreneurial self-efficacy, it had a huge impact,
It did.
both on the students' attitude towards entrepreneurship and their intention to start a business. It's powerful stuff.
It really is.
It's not just about knowing the right stuff. It's about believing you can actually use that knowledge to make things happen.
Right. Knowledge is important, but without action, it's just potential.
It reminds me of that guy, James Dyson.
Oh, yeah.
He made like, what was it? Thousands of prototypes.
Oh, yeah. Over 5,000 for his vacuum cleaner.
5,000 before he finally got it right. Talk about believing in yourself, right?
That's persistence right there. Speaks volumes about his self-efficacy.
That's amazing. It makes you wonder, though, like, does becoming an entrepreneur, does it actually make your self-efficacy better in other parts of your life? You know what I mean?
That's a really interesting question, and it makes sense if you think about it.
Hmm.
The demands of entrepreneurship, problem solving, resilience, adaptability,
Right.
those are skills that can definitely translate to other areas.
It's like if you can handle starting a business, maybe asking for a raise at work doesn't seem so scary anymore.
Exactly. You've already faced those bigger challenges, so the smaller ones might not feel so daunting.
Yeah, yeah. And the paper also mentioned how self-efficacy really affects a student's attitude towards entrepreneurship, too.
Right.
So even if you've got the skills and the drive, if you don't have a good feeling about entrepreneurship itself, it might hold you back.
It's like you could be a great marathon runner,
Yeah.
but if you hate running,
You're not going to do it.
exactly, you're not going to sign up for that race.
Makes sense. So maybe entrepreneurial education isn't just about teaching business skills. Maybe it's also about helping people see entrepreneurship in a positive light.
Absolutely. Showing them the potential, the impact they can have, the rewards that go beyond just, making money.
Like inspiring them, right?
Exactly. Inspiring them to take action.
It makes me think about like social entrepreneurship, businesses that are trying to make a difference in the world,
Oh, yeah.
like tackling environmental problems or social issues.
Right. Having that sense of purpose can be incredibly motivating.
Yeah. And if you're passionate about the problem you're solving,
It might make those challenges seem smaller, more manageable.
because you know you're working towards something bigger than yourself.
Absolutely.
Ah,
And the confidence boost that comes from making a positive impact, that can fuel your self-efficacy in all sorts of ways.
yeah, that's a good point. It's not just about the bottom line. Speaking of context, though, we've been talking a lot about this one study,
We have.
but it's important to remember this was done in China
Right.
with a specific group of college students.
Good point. The results might look different in other cultures or age groups.
Yeah, China's got its own unique thing going on when it comes to entrepreneurship.
Definitely a culture that values innovation and economic growth.
It would be interesting to see how this plays out in cultures with different attitudes towards risk or failure, you know?
That's a great point. In some places, starting a business might be seen as a last resort,
Yeah.
while in others, it's encouraged and celebrated.
And what about different education systems? How do they play into all of this?
That's another great question. Some might focus on traditional career paths,
Yeah,
while others might nurture entrepreneurial thinking from a young age.
right. And even the type of entrepreneurial education could make a difference, right?
Absolutely. Maybe hands-on learning has a bigger impact than just sitting in a lecture hall.
Or maybe mentorship programs connecting students with experienced entrepreneurs.
That could be huge. Having that guidance and support from someone who's been there, done that.
Yeah, there's so much more to explore here. But this research does give us a good starting point, right?
It does. It highlights the importance of self-efficacy and how it shapes those entrepreneurial intentions.
And that's important for everyone, not just college students.
Right. Whether you're thinking about starting your own thing or just navigating your career.
Yeah. And we often think of entrepreneurs as these young, tech-savvy folks.
It's the stereotype, isn't it?
But there are more and more encore entrepreneurs out there,
Oh, yeah. People starting businesses later in life.
Yeah, after they've already had successful careers.
That's right. Bringing all that experience and knowledge to the table.
Like they've climbed a few mountains and now they're ready for Everest.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
They've got that seasoned self-efficacy,
Yeah, they've faced challenges, they've learned from their mistakes.
and they've built a deep understanding of what they're good at.
It shows that entrepreneurship, it's not just a career path,
It's a mindset.
a way of approaching life with that proactive, can-do spirit.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder what would happen if we focused on cultivating that entrepreneurial spirit in everyone.
Like, what if instead of just teaching business skills, we nurtured a broader sense of possibility?
A belief that anyone can make a difference.
Imagine a world where everyone felt empowered to pursue their passions,
To solve problems, create new things.
regardless of their age or background. It's an exciting thought, isn't it?
It really is.
And who knows, maybe the next big breakthrough is just waiting for someone to believe in themselves enough to take that first step.
So to wrap up this part of our deep dive, I think it's safe to say that we've learned a lot.
Yeah, we have.
We've seen how entrepreneurial education, self-efficacy, and intention, they all work together.
And how those entrepreneurial experiences can actually boost your confidence in other areas of life, too.
It's a positive feedback loop.
And we've also challenged ourselves to think bigger, right? About how an entrepreneurial spirit can empower people of all ages and backgrounds.
And how that can lead to a more resilient and thriving society.
Exactly. So now that we've covered how individuals are affected, I think it's time to zoom out even further.
Right. To look at the big
To
picture.
look at the potential impact on society as a whole, what could a truly entrepreneurial society look like? All right, so we've talked about what makes someone want to be an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
but now I'm thinking, like, what about the bigger
You
picture?
mean like zooming out
Yeah.
to the whole society?
Yeah. Like, what if everyone had that entrepreneurial spirit? What would that even look like?
It's a fascinating question.
Hmm.
I mean, a society where everyone's innovating, creating jobs, solving problems, that could lead to some pretty incredible things.
Yeah, right. Like a total societal upgrade.
Exactly. Think about it, a more dynamic economy, more creative solutions to like social issues,
Yeah.
maybe even a boost to like overall well-being.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. But how do we get there? Is it just a matter of like telling everyone to go get a business degree?
It's not that simple. Remember that self-efficacy thing we were talking about?
Believing in yourself.
Right. It's not just about the skills. It's about that inner belief that you can make things happen.
So we need to like encourage that can-do spirit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about nurturing potential, not
Yeah.
just handing out business plans and hoping for the best.
So creating an environment where people feel safe to like try new things, even if they fail.
That's a big part of it. Because let's face it, not every idea is going to be a home run.
Right. Yeah. There's always going to be some risk involved.
Exactly. But if people are too afraid to fail, they'll never even try.
And how do we change that, especially in cultures where like failure is seen as a bad thing?
Well, one way is through storytelling, sharing stories of entrepreneurs who messed up,
Yeah.
learned from it, and then ultimately succeeded.
Hmm.
It helps to, like, normalize failure.
Yeah, it shows it's not the end of the world.
Right. And education can play a big role, too.
Oh, how so?
Well, imagine schools where kids are encouraged to experiment,
Mm-hmm.
where failure is seen as a learning opportunity, not a sign of weakness.
Oh, I like that. So instead of memorizing facts, they're actually like solving problems, being creative.
Exactly. Building that entrepreneurial muscle from a young age.
Yeah. And what about like government policies? Could they help support entrepreneurship?
Oh, absolutely. Things like access to funding, mentorship programs, resources to help entrepreneurs who hit a rough patch.
It's like giving them a safety net so they're not afraid to take risks.
Right. Creating a support system that encourages innovation.
And when you think about it, like a society full of problem solvers, innovators, people who aren't afraid to try new things.
That's a society that can tackle some pretty big challenges.
It's almost like investing in entrepreneurship is investing in like human potential itself.
I like that.
And it's not just about starting businesses, right? It's about that mindset, that entrepreneurial spirit.
You could apply that to anything.
Yeah. Whether you're working in a big company or a small one, or even just in your personal life.
It's about being resourceful, resilient, believing that you can make a difference.
Exactly. So I guess what we've learned is that this whole entrepreneurship thing, it's bigger than just like starting a company.
It really is. It's about a way of thinking, a way of being in the world.
And that anyone, anywhere can have that entrepreneurial spirit.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe this conversation sparked something for you.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a problem you're passionate about solving.
Or a dream you've been putting off.
And if today's deep dive has made you think about the power of self-belief,
Hmm.
well, we have a ton of other episodes on things like resilience, mindset, achieving your goals,
So keep learning, keep exploring.
and keep believing in yourself.
And as always, thanks for taking this deep dive with us.